Chris. Thanks so much for joining me today for another episode of Cracking the Code.
Thanks, Natalie. I'm excited to be here.
All right, so today we're going to talk a bit about privacy. We recently commissioned the Harris Poll to conduct a survey of over 2,000 people, and we found that 81% of Americans assume that all health data collected by digital apps is protected under HIPAA regulations. While more than half surveyed are familiar with HIPAA, in reality, HIPAA has nothing to do with digital health apps. So Chris, what's your take and what can health organizations do about that?
It's a big challenge to think about all of the health apps that you have on your iPhone or Android device or whatever. The convenience that is offered to you from using one of these applications, it's tremendous. It's great. If you think about some of the health apps that you have, I do Orange Theory workouts all the time. Not enough, clearly, but I work on it, and I've got my heartbeat monitoring going. I've got my trends over time. None of that has anything to do with HIPAA. It gets a little bit more murky when you have an application that comes along and says, hey, we're going to track your when's the best time to try to conceive a child, or when's the best time to start to do your breathing exercises or whatever. All of that data is collected, including some of the spatial data that doesn't actually have anything to do with the app itself. Where are you at the time? What time is it? Let's think about the Aura rings, for example. They track your sleep patterns, all that stuff. None of that is governed by HIPAA. And so, as a result, you're governed by only one thing, and that's the terms of service associated with the application itself. And I don't know if you have spent some time reading an application or reading a terms of service in an application as you're looking at your phone and you're scrolling down to try to figure out, well, I don't like that term. I don't like that term. Your recourse is to not use the application. So what do people do? They just say, okay, I agree. And what that does is makes their data subject to whatever the application owner decides that it should be used for. Essentially, that's what happens. It's kind of scary.
It is. It certainly is. So given that HIPAA was enacted back in 1996, then is there an opportunity to propose changes that may be made in light of the evolving digital landscape and the fact that digital apps really don't make any sort of splash with HIPAA?
Well, Senator Mark Warner actually has started to work on some of that already. I would consider him one of the leaders in the field of trying to change HIPAA, trying to update HIPAA. It's widely recognized that HIPAA needs to be updated. How do we do it? There's a lot of ideas on how it should be done. A lot of the work that's being done by NIST, for example, could be leveraged again with some of the HIPAA standards. There have been some legislation that has been passed as well that says, hey, these 14 different security rule items that you should think about and that you should do. Some of them are required, some of them are addressable. Instead of just checking the box on those HIPAA security rule safeguards, why don't you use state-of-the-art, not to copy the GDPR, but use best practice. Right. Use state-of-the-art systems, approaches, processes, technologies. Make that the de facto standard, and you'll be okay. We have high trust certification here at ClearDATA. We have 575 or so different controls that are very, very prescriptive on how we should operate. Sometimes that might be a little overkill for certain entities and certain organizations, but following a different set of standards than just the HIPAA security rule is probably a really, really good idea, especially if you think about some of the new technologies, the new language models that are coming out, some of these other things. It's a really good idea to step it up above and beyond HIPAA without just doing this checklist mentality.
Right. No, it sounds like there's a lot of opportunity out there and a lot of work to be done at the same time. So with that being said, what can companies then do to better inform patients and users that their data, where their data will live and then how it will be used?
Well, when you say companies, I'll just assume that we're talking about health app companies that may not be regulated by HIPAA. Those who take privacy seriously, I would say there's very few companies that actually take data privacy very seriously. Ours is an exception to that, of course. I believe Apple is a privacy platform. Their differentiator, if you will, is to build systems that allow you to protect your privacy greater than I think other systems or platforms. I think that there are opportunities for companies who care to continue to differentiate in the marketplace by offering the tools necessary to protect your privacy and to protect your data. There are those companies that don't care. In fact, there are those companies that would like to take your data and do whatever they want with it without any kind of regard for your own privacy. At that point, you've already signed your privacy away. Your data has now become part of probably a large language model in some kind of an AI framework or approach. Your data has probably been shared with Facebook, with Meta, to target ads. In fact, we know that's the case. We know that the virtual machine or virtual meeting platforms like this one that we're on right now has actually shared data of 80 million people during the pandemic to try to further their own data initiatives. So I think it's upon us to go work and go consume services with companies that align with our values. Simple as that, I think.
Absolutely. It's a slippery slope when, as a consumer, we have to rely on companies and other people doing the right thing. So with this in mind, it seems as if companies maybe can easily take advantage of maybe the average Joe's naivety and could use this, just their lack of awareness to take advantage. What do you think about that?
Well, I have children. They could care less about privacy. In fact, I'll see things that they post and I'll just, cover my eyes and just my head turns around 360 degrees. I'll have to go have a chat about privacy. Convenience over privacy is such a prolific thing right now. I want something right this moment. I want something right now. I want this video to show up right this second. I want to like this video or post something, and I want instant gratification of all my friends liking it. It's kind of an addiction. So I don't know if that answers your question, but it convenience over privacy is a big problem, and it's it's something that we all have come to expect. I want it now.
Yeah, absolutely. And we know a majority of data breaches are caused by human error as well, clicking a phishing email, et cetera. So there's an overall, it seems, maybe lack of awareness from the end user, the consumers, on data privacy and cybersecurity. So do you think that if we knew more about the repercussions of this, we would make smarter decisions or be more careful with these links and phishing scams?
We do phishing scenarios all the time. Companies do them all the time, and we still have data breaches because people click on these things. Now, if you want to complicate matters a little bit, start to think about AI and bad AI, if you will. There's actually AI as a service that's designed to do bad things, including create phishing attacks, and they can actually change the phishing attack minute by minute, second by second, to address or countermeasure some of the protections that the victim company has in place. So it's going to be very, very difficult moving forward to protect data. That's why it's such an important part of our mission at ClearDATA is to protect data. That is our mission. That is, when I started this company, that was the vision: protect data, protect patient data. The big gaping hole here that we're identifying, though, is that there's such a huge ecosystem of apps that don't have anything to do with HIPAA that we need to address that. And there are organizations that are trying to do that right now, trying to put health-related apps into some kind of a category where they are regulated. And so, supporting those kinds of efforts is a great thing, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Well, Chris, thank you, as always, so much for your insights. We look forward to the next discussion and the next episode of Cracking the Code with you.
Thanks a lot. I've enjoyed our discussion.
You too.